here is my first slide I want to share with you. If you would refer to your handout, just look at this graph again one more time. There are 3 levels. You see the green zone, the lighter green, and the darker green. The full length of the triangle is called your primary prevention. The lighter green area is your secondary prevention. That is where check-in, check-out fits. And I'm going to talk to you today and tell you exactly what it is, how do you put it in place, who's responsible, and what we can do to come in and service you as a school. The 1 to 5% is referencing intensive individual interventions. This is an area I will be talking about on my 3rd presentation, which is tertiary level strategies, which is going to be held in November. So if you're going to be tuning in at that time, feel free to join me in that, and I'll be talking to you more about the tertiary level of intervention system. The next one, which is what I'm going to spend a lot of time today talking about, is working with your at-risk students. Remember the statistic, the 80-20 principle I talked about in my first presentation. I said that 80% of your behavior problems will come from 20% of your students. So why don't we use targeted, systematic, evidence-based strategies, put those in place, and target specific problems with specific actions? So what we're going to do is that part. And then lastly, the 80-90%, these are your universal interventions. Everybody gets it, the whole school. An example of that would be morning meetings, and we've talked about that. Okay, so how do we design this? Okay, what we need to do is make sure we have all of these things in place. Now, let me talk to you about how we can set up what is called the BEP, or the Behavior Education Plan, for your classroom or for your school system. Number one, there needs to be organization. There needs to be structure. We also need to have a referral process where we refer students into the check-in, connect, check-out. Okay? There needs to be some type of contract where the students are invested in this as well. There needs to be a buy-in. There is a basic BEP cycle that I'm going to talk to you about, the Behavior Education Plan. Now, if you want to get more information about that, and there is a great book here. It's called Responding to Problem Behaviors in Schools. It deals specifically with the check-in, check-out. And if you notice, this book has been put out by Crone, Horn, and Hawken. They did a fantastic job of sharing forms, ideas, and how to actually put this thing into action. So as a supplement today, if you want to take this to the next level, I encourage you to get this book, and it has invaluable information about what I'm presenting today. Okay? So in setting up your check-in, check-out system, you have to have a functional assessment. Functional assessment looking at pre-test scores, looking at scores of students where they are right now, in terms of where you want them to go. Okay, so you should have some current data that's going to show baseline. Then you need to have a design of support. Who's going to be part of this group? What we do typically in our Middle Tennessee area is we try to go out and work with teams within the system. And working with these teams, we set up what are called PBS teams. And a PBS team could be anywhere between 6 to 10 people who are vested in this, who are stakeholders in PBS. So we need a lot of buy-in from faculty, staff, and the student as well. The most important part of this whole process is it is very much data-driven. There is a data collection system, and it helps with your decision making, and we'll show you that in a few moments. The next piece is I'm going to show you is what an example of a daily progress report might look like. For example, here's what you have: a student, and these students are all referred for the check-in, check-out intervention. In this, on the card, it will be written, be respectful, be responsible, be safe. This is an example of a point system where they would go to different teachers during the day, and teachers would score them, and the student at the end of the day would check out with this card, and it's done on NCR paper. So you tear it off, and one goes to the student to take home, and the other one goes into a file folder. So basically this is what it looks like generically. Okay? There's lots of adult supports in this process. So if you're going to use check-in, check-out, you'll need to enlist the responsibility of your teacher assistants who will be there to assist you, paraprofessionals who will become the PBS coaches in the morning to check students in and out, okay? The next piece of check-in, check-out is that it is very much context-specific or context-driven. For example, if most of the problem is taking place in the lunchroom, we have check-in, check-out that's going to target specific behaviors that needs to be changed in that area. We might also have target behaviors that we need to address on the school bus. So we have specific target interventions for that particular behavior or that context or setting. Okay, so the BP cycle, which deals a lot with pre-corrections, is basically works like this. We come in, we set up a team. On that team, we have parents, we have administrators, we have teachers, we might even have a teacher assistant. We might even have someone who volunteers to come to be part of it. This team will be the gatekeepers for the entire process. They are the people that facilitate students entering into the program and students leaving the program. A typical check-in, check-out time period should be anywhere between 9 to 12 weeks. That simply means a student gets into the program, referred in, these are your at-risk students, they stay for the full 9 to 12 weeks. However, there could be a situation where they might have to stay in a little longer. I've known students to stay in it for at least an entire year until they get their behavior under control using the card. So you might be at this point asking yourself, so what is this thing, Dr. Khan? You've been talking about it. Are you rambling? No. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you some more specifics right now. So I'm trying to build up a case of how this really does work, okay? It does require some work, obviously. It does require personnel. It does require training. It does require conscientious effort from every faculty member, from everyone to become invested in this check-in, check-out, okay? What happens is that, an example, if I am the coach, the PBS coach, and in the morning, I have a line of students who are all coming in, have my desk. If you can imagine this, I've got my computer, and I'm ready to type away. And Bob comes in and says, hey, good morning, Bob, how are you? Bob comes in and gives me here, I give Bob his check-in, check-out card. He receives it. He's a 5th grader. And I say, Bob, have a wonderful day. I know you're going to do your best. Bob leaves and goes to his math class. At math class, math teacher teaches. Oh, Bob, you might want to cut that out. Or Bob, I like the way you're paying attention. Math lesson's over, walk over to Bob. Bob, can I have your card, please? Pull the card, look at it, and I just make a circle of whether he's achieved the target of whatever the behavior was. That card's given back to Bob. Bob goes to the next teacher, and I'm in science right now. And I'm in science working, doing a great job, motivated, excited about science because it's so hands-on and I'm enjoying this. Comes up to the teacher signs off. Oh, you had a great day, Bob. I'm just so proud of you. Thank you. Gives him full score, gives him back the card. So this goes on for the entire school day. And there I am, the checkout coach, sitting down here. Hey, Bob, welcome. Give me your card, thank you. Oh, look at that. Math? Wow. Had a little bit of problems there, Bob. Might have to work on that. Science? Ooh, you haven't got a comment yet. He did great. Awesome. Great. Good job. Here's a copy for you, Bob, to rub the NCR paper off. Here's your final score. Here we go. Take that home, get your mom to sign that. And tomorrow morning, bring that back. I want to see it signed. Excellent. Next, 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 next. That's check-in, check-out, okay? How long did that take me as a teacher? 20 seconds? 10 seconds? Did it take away any time? Now, when we're doing the debriefing with the students in the math class or the science class, all I'm doing is just reporting the results of evaluating on how he's doing. I'm not engaging the student at that time in a conversation of why did you do this and get into a sort of a struggle. So you don't want to do that. You just want to take away, remember the goal here, folks. What is the goal of PBS? I want to give you back your time to teach, not spend all that time disciplining students. So that's the goal of what PBIS does, is that I want to get you to become more engaged, give you back more engaged time so you can cover the curriculum, so the students can start to achieve. So in my example, in my little role playing here, do you get a concept of how this looks and how it feels? Okay, I've shown you the card. Now that card that you do have up there, it can be all kinds of different cards. Let me show you the actual, actually what happens now in a summary. The first thing is that you will check in the office. You will have a reminder binder also. There's going to be some pre-correction. For example, I said, I know you're going to have a good day, and I gave him some positive and free, that's pre-correction. Talking about signing your forms, picking up new forms, reviewing your daily goals, okay? Your check-in coach and your check-out coach should not be spending more than a minute with each student at check-in and check-out. Now, when I'm done at the end of the day, and everyone, when I said next, 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 and I'm done in about 30 minutes, I'm all done. I have with me a whole bunch of NCR paper, correct? I also have teacher scores, correct? I take those scores now, I get to my computer, I pull up everyone's file in an Excel spreadsheet, or if I'm using a software program like Swiss, which is something I will share with you in a few moments, I enter the data in there, and this data instantaneously becomes shared with the faculty. So anyone at their computers could instantly pull this stuff up, and also in your computer, you could become a little more sophisticated, and you could pull up charts and graphs and all kinds of neat stuff. So all of this goes into a database, and we are tracking Bob as he goes through the 9 to 12 week intervention. Now Bob, a couple things could happen with Bob. Number one is he could have a graph that goes like this. That means behavior is continuing to escalate, no progress, so he stays on it. He might then get referred to tertiary intervention. You might get a graph coming down like this. That means Bob is doing well. We're proud of Bob. Yay, yay. High five for Bob. And he gets out of the program. Who regulates that will be your PBIS team members who are trained to be able to do that. Okay? And then Bob has those options. The other option is he could go like this. And then he probably stays in the program because it's trying to help and there's some benefit to it, but he's having some trouble with it. So he might have an extended stay with the check-in, check-out.